In this video, I spent 100 days in Terraria Calamiti Expert Mode. Here's what happened. So, day 1. You'll never guess how this started. Believe it or not, I didn't actually start by chopping down some trees. Unbelievable, I know. Instead, I started off by opening some of the starter bags that I was given. There was lots of useful basic items in there to help me get started with my journey. I organised my inventory a bit, then I commenced with the deforestation. I might note that this playthrough is on Tmod Loader, meaning it's a 1.3 playthrough, so I don't have to do all of the NPC stuff. I then went exploring to the left of my world and quickly found a desert. I made a cactus helmet, got assaulted by some powerful mobs, and then, well, I died. I then went back to the desert, collected some more cactus, and then I was attacked by the Snidrion desert mini-boss. Needless to say, I probably wasn't prepared for that, so I didn't attempt to fight back, and instead, I died. I decided it was probably wise to just stay back, stay with the guide, stay at home, well, and make a home I suppose, to help me survive the night. So I did that instead, and that basically summarises the very first day in this world. The first thing I did in day 2 was make a quiver to help me conserve my arrows, as well as finishing making cactus armour. I then attempted to explore the underground desert, however there wasn't really any loot, so I instead explored the world more to the left. I looted a surface chest which had some useful supplies, then I found a desert pyramid. I was so excited because you can actually get really useful early game items from these. However, my excitement quickly evaporated and went out of the door when I opened the chest, and yeah, not great. I then went home, organised my inventory, and day 3 was when things began to get interesting. I started off by exploring my world to the right, and I killed a bunch of Wolfram enemies. One of them dropped a rover drive, which was an accessory that increased my defense by 10 for 10 seconds and then deactivated for 20 seconds. I continued exploring to the right, found a surface chest, looted it, and then I found this. I swear it was much closer than dungeons usually are. Unfortunately, it didn't have any books at all on the surface, so I had to leave empty-handed. I then proceeded to die. I built a second house above the first, and then spent the rest of the night throwing bricks at zombies, which is surprisingly harder than it looks. Oh, I also dug out an area for my future chest room, and before I knew it, day 4 had rolled around. At the start of day 4, the very first non-guide NPC moved in. It was, rather underwhelmingly, the dye trader, who gave me negative dye in return for a strange plant, and shadow dye in return for my second strange plant. The negative dye looked absolutely disgusting, so I put it in a chest, never to be seen again. I then equipped the shadow dye. I also built 2 more houses, and Orion the Archer arrived. He wasn't really selling anything too spectacular, so I just left him to it. So instead, I continued to explore my world to the left. While doing so, I found a heart crystal and obtained a musket. The merchant also moved in, which meant I could buy a piggy bank and start saving up money. I also bought an anvil and made a new summon weapon from Wolfram, as well as full Wolfram armour. Also, this stunningly beautiful message popped up in chat. Day 5. I expanded my house a bit more, hoping to get some more friendly NPCs to move in. I also put some chests into my soon-to-be chest room, which meant that I could actually organise my stuff. Later on, I went to explore a cave, found an underground chest and obtained this loot. Nothing particularly special, unfortunately, so I continued to move deeper into the cave. Found another chest, once again, Nothing extraordinary. I then almost drowned. So I returned home because I didn't want to die and continued to work on my chest room. On day 6, I found the meteor that landed earlier on. I used some bombs to gather as much meteorite as I could before dying. I was able to get 93 ore, so after dying I went back and basically repeated the exact same process. I was able to get another 80 ore, which I turned into bars. And that was enough to make full meteorite armor and the space gun. Unfortunately, that took up basically all of day 6. On day 7, I started building an arena in the desert, which I was going to use to fight the Desert Scourge. I also started building an arena at home, which was going to be the main arena which I would fight the majority of bosses on. I then summoned and defeated the King Slime, which gave me the slime hook. This was going to be super useful for general movement since I didn't have Hermes boots yet. I then continued to explore my world to the left, found the jungle and died. On day 8, I returned to the jungle since that place is a goddamn gold mine for loot and I really wanted the Hermes boots. I found an Anklet of the Wind in my very first jungle chest, which is an accessory which would be very useful later on in the video. I found a bunch of heart crystals and also found the jungle temple. Now that is going to be important for later. I also found another chest, but unfortunately this was the loot it contained. I wanted to keep exploring, but I got swarmed and this message came up in chat. I was far from prepared. I hadn't finished my arena and so I paid the price. However, it was insanely close. And yeah, that's day 8, ladies and gentlemen. By day 9, I had a growing village of NPCs. This was a village that needed to continue to grow, so I built more houses. After finishing the construction, I went to the desert, expanded my arena just a bit more, and summoned the Desert Scourge. We were victorious! Fantastic! At night time, I had to battle a blood moon. Little did I know at this point how important blood moons were. I would soon learn of the importance of the blood orb. On day 10, I went mining for some gold, but didn't really find anything else, so I decided to return home to begin the creation of my elevator. I was using bombs to make it nice and quick, and I was going to continue excavating until day 11, but I was instead greeted by this wonderful message. Here's how it went. Another victory to add to our list. I now had the Shield of Cthulhu, one of the best early game accessories, as well as the eye shot, which seemed to be a very strong early game bow. On day 11, I went to the East Coast and battled against the Acid Rain. If you're wondering, this consisted of a bunch of exploding frogs and some strange looking fish. Unfortunately, I only got about halfway through the event before it ended. Oh, and I also found an enchanted sword shrine, but my pickaxe, because it was only copper, couldn't mine the blocks, and I didn't have enough bombs to reach it, so I reluctantly had to leave it behind. At night, I battled the King Slime again in hopes of obtaining the slime mount, which I didn't get. I fought him again, and once again, I didn't get it. Bummer. And on day 12, on my 4th King Slime attempt, I got it. What I also got was this message. That meant I could get the best NPC in the game, the Goblin Tinkerer. I actually defeated the whole goblin army without dying once, and although they didn't drop anything useful, I was still happy to have got them out of the way. I then battled the king slime a bunch more times, making tons of money. Day 13 started with me visiting my leftmost ocean and looting an ocean chest. Fortunately, I got flippers, leading to this very slightly intense moment. I did, however, drown later on. I then returned to the underground jungle in search for Hermes boots, as well as other potentially lucrative items. I was able to find the final life crystal required for 400 life, meaning that I could now convert any future life crystals into heart lanterns. I ended up finding another life crystal, but I forgot I had my grappling hook and became completely overwhelmed, which meant that I then returned with immediate effect, found a cloud in a bottle on the way down, and found a minecart track, which led to me finding another jungle house. I finally got a magic mirror, as well as some teleportation potions. Day 13 was a good day. On day 14, I found another jungle house, and in the chest was an enchanted boomerang. How useful! I then actually found another house, but unfortunately, this one wasn't exactly bearing anything useful either, same with the third house. However, I did kill an undead miner and got an earthen arrow stone. Turns out there were 3 others just like this, which could be used to make some ultimate arrow stone. You'll see that probably later on in the video. I also found a marble biome and a marble chest, which contained another cloud in a bottle. Right next to it was another jungle house. However, this one gave me shoe spikes, and then I got dangerously close to dying with a hefty sum of gold on me, so I returned home. I had nothing else really planned for that night, so I used the teleportation potion, which took me to the underground desert. However, I discovered a brand new biome right next to it. The biome didn't seem to have anything particularly special in it, so I continued in the minecart and ended up finding another underground house, and this one presented me with a flare gun. Yay! However, it also gave me an Eye of Cthulhu spawner, which wasn't terrible, although I'm pretty sure I could buy them from the Dryad at this point. On day 15, I used my second teleportation potion. This one took me to the very depths of hell, literally. I was immediately assaulted and almost killed by a voodoo demon, but I fought back valiantly and destroyed it, giving me a guide voodoo doll as well as a brand new sword called the Blade Crest Oath Sword. Cool. I then died. Yep, just putting that out there, I did just die. I used up the extra 5 life crystals that I'd obtained so far to make 5 heart lanterns. These were going to be really useful for all boss fights, so I needed to stack on them as much as I possibly could. On the night of the 15th, I was presented with another blood moon. This was the perfect opportunity to rack up some blood orbs, which would later be used to craft potions. On day 16, I was looking for a very specific underground plant. The plant in question was Blinkroot. Why, I hear you asking? Well, observe. I could craft swiftness potions, and with swiftness potions, I could craft these beautiful kicks. During the night, I built some more houses, and that's basically it. But on the plus side, I now had Hermes boots. I finally stood a chance against all of the bosses. Now, day 17 was my intended day to fight and destroy the Eater of Worlds. I made a mini arena and went down to destroy 2 more shadow orbs. However, rather hilariously, this happened. I'd accidentally killed a hive cyst while blowing up the last orb, summoning both of the corruption bosses. I then proceeded to get absolutely wrecked by the team of bosses. A real rookie error. The only good thing that actually came out of day 17 was that a meteorite landed. 2 meteorites landed. Unfortunately, even that was kinda useless, but hey, I'm trying to stay positive at this point. At the start of day 18, I challenged the Eater of Worlds to a rematch, which ended something like this. Turns out I'd massively underestimated the expert Eater of Worlds. I tried to build a house for the nurse beside the arena, but I remembered that NPCs can't move into the corruption biome, so that idea went straight into the bin. I decided to instead continue with my elevator, however even that couldn't go well. I hit a massive ice pool, and you drown really quickly in icy water, so I hit a plateau which even stopped me progressing with that. Honestly speaking, nothing really happened on day 19. I used the extractinator, and then went mining to try and get more gems or slush blocks to use in the extractinator. I wasn't really sure what I should have been doing up to this point, so I just wanted to get a new hook. Ended up obtaining a lot of different gems, but not enough to actually make a new hook. I also bought a crimson rod from the merchant to help me with the Eater of Worlds, and at night time I was greeted with another blood moon. I was able to get even more blood orbs whilst also expanding my Eater of Worlds arena. When the blood moon finally ended, I decided to give the hive mind a shot. I thought I was doing really well until it reached its second form, which I didn't even know it had. The situation very quickly spiraled out of control, and yeah, I think it's best to say I'm probably not ready for that boss just yet. However, I was able to find the second and third meteors on the right hand side of the world whilst I was looking for vile mushrooms to make another Eater of Worlds summoner. I was able to mine the majority of one meteor before I died. I made a meteorite hamax and further expanded my Eater of Worlds arena. I then summoned the Eater of Worlds, and the most epic battle ever known to man commenced. Just kidding, the goddamn thing despawned! I'm typing in capitals with my script with how angry I am! Okay, calm. But truth be told, this really ticked me off. It turns out part of my arena wasn't in the corruption. Kind of dumb mistake is that? So, on day 21, I made a new corruption biome at the top of the arena. I retrieved those corrupt seeds that I'd obtained from the Eye of Cthulhu and planted them on a small dirt platform, and I left it to just spread for a bit. So I went scavenging for more vile mushrooms and rotten chunks. I also got another strange plant, and the dye trader gave me reflective silver dye in exchange for it. It looked awesome. This was going to be my charm to beat the Eater of Worlds. I then went back to the corruption to expand my arena even more, and then I was ready. That was it. I had done it. I crafted a nightmare pickaxe as a reward for my efforts. I actually decided not to craft shadow armor, even though it's like one of my favourite armor sets in the whole game. And just like nothing had happened, I went to the right hand side of the world to prepare for my next battle, Skeletron. I built a house for the nurse and begun construction of the arena. This continued into the night, and I decided, why not give Skeletron a go? Got nothing to lose, give it a bit of fun. And no, I didn't win. It was going alright until I made another rookie error. I'd completely forgotten to bring my bed and set my spawn at the nurse, so when I magic mirrored to heal up, I went all the way back home. However, the rest of the day was amazing. First, I found the bound goblin, meaning I could buy rocket boots and the tinkerer's workshop. And I found the underground mushroom biome, which was going to be super important for truffle worms as well as crabulon. And I was lucky enough to get a coin portal giving me another 15 gold. And there was a mushroom chest inside the biome with a spelunker potion and an extra 2 gold in it. this was undoubtedly the best day so far. On day 23, I finally made a watch. This meant that I could actually track time in the world, meaning it was much easier for me recording to clearly see when the days changed. I also made Spectre boots, which meant that I can run to the dungeon with enhanced agility. I then gave Skeletron another attempt. However, I felt like my arena still wasn't really big enough, and when I magic mirrored to the nurse when the going got tough, he despawned again. I probably would have beaten him had I not made the same mistake again, but alas, I spent the rest of the night expanding the arena. I'd hoped that it would be useful for the cultist battle when we finally got there. On day 24, I continued to expand my dungeon arena. I wanted to beat Skeletron this night, so I needed to make sure that I was properly prepared and to make sure that I wasn't going to make the same mistake a third time. I went back home to craft an Iron Skin potion, as well as to retrieve some foe, which is a consumable that increases a variety of stats. Very useful indeed. On the night of the 24th, I summoned Skeletron, and this would be the final time. And that's it. We beat him. We got the Skeletron hand, and it was time to explore the dungeon. And I got a coin portal. And another. On day 25, I found the mechanic in the dungeon. I also got a bunch of new weapons, which included the Shinobi Blade, the Staff of Necrosteocytes, which was actually really overpowered, and I also got the Muramasa. I also found the Ice Chest, which contains the Staff of the Frost Hydra, but I mean, we weren't there yet. I was way off opening that, but I did mark it with a whole bunch of torches so I could find it on the map when I did need it. I got the Alchemy Table, and I also got a Godly Blue Moon in another chest, which I don't think I actually ever used in the rest of the playthrough. I also found the Tavern Keep and a Bewitching Table. And I found another chest which was actually unable to open, something probably very important for later. That was day 25, very useful finds overall. The 26th day started off with me using 2 more teleportation potions. The first one took me to some cave which led to a marble biome, although it doesn't actually have anything particularly interesting, or so I thought, until I opened this chest and got this beauty, Yondu's Staff. I honestly wish it was more powerful as it looked awesome. At night, I tested it against the Eye of Cthulhu, and this is how it went. Yeah, probably not the most powerful, but still cool. Oh, I also made Necro Armor, in case my bow ended up being better than my space gun. I used my second teleportation potion on day 27. It took me to some random cavern deep underground. There was, rather fortunately, a granite house right next to where I teleported, so I looted it and I got quite disappointed. There wasn't anything else in the cave, so I returned home to continue working on my elevator. I actually made some pretty good progress, but then, whilst I was exploring a cave off to the left, something caught my eye, something looking rather modern. I decided that the elevator was going to have to wait to another day, literally, and I started mining towards this mysterious structure. Upon further inspection, it seemed to be some weird alien tech lab of some sort. However, the one downside to this mysterious structure were these goddamn laser turrets that wouldn't shut up. The structure looked cool, really cool, especially the fact that it was buried underground deep in the snow biome. It had some cool holograms and a bunch of other things, but it didn't really seem to have anything useful. Just things that looked cool. But speaking of useful items, right next to the lab was an underground house, and in the chest were some new kicks. Not ones that I would ever end up wearing, but some fresh boots nonetheless, should I ever need them in the future for crafting. After returning, there seemed to be some strange data record called Draydon's Log. I just skimmed through it here, but you can pause the video to read the pages if you want. At night, there was another blood moon, which meant more blood orb farming. At the start of day 29, I did some reforging. I actually got really lucky with most of my accessories, getting warding or menacing fairly quickly. I actually built another house, which was meant to be a floating house for the bandit. The bandit was selling awesome new weapons for the rogue class. There were boomerangs and glaives, which had a very high damage output to compare to what I was currently using. At night time, I used a gravitation potion and found a floating island straight away. This gave me a very important early game accessory, the lucky horseshoe. Finally, I could work on my elevator without the constant fear of death. I spent the rest of the night floating around the sky from planet to planet, discovering a bunch of cool things along the way. Day 30 was pretty uneventful. I literally spent the whole day trying to drain water in the elevator while slowly making progress towards hell. On day 31, I made it to hell and took a break of about 1 second and immediately started working on the hell bridge. Unfortunately, I was continually assaulted by voodoo demons and I died rather quickly. I basically spent the whole of day 31 making the hell bridge, but I kept being attacked by voodoo demons, and as a result of that, I accidentally summoned the wall of flesh, or rather my minion accidentally summoned the wall of flesh. It was a decent fight, but my DPS output just wasn't really there, and the bridge wasn't long enough, and I died. I spent all of day 32 extending the hell bridge. Yep, that's it. The same goes for day 33. Kinda. Unfortunately, I'd accidentally summoned the wall of flesh again. This time, it was a bleatin' lava slime. However, this time around I had some new weapons, namely the demon scythe, but even that wasn't enough. However, in the background, I'd been collecting a whole bunch of materials and ores to craft a brand new bow. This was the freeze flame bow, and it was going to be my method of destruction on the wall of flesh. Also, it's kind of used much later on to craft a really overpowered bow, but anyways, day 34. Day 34 started with me accidentally summoning the wall of flesh again, and this happened. The bridge was still too short. I'd spent like 3 days on it, and it still wasn't enough. I kinda wanted a break from chilling in hell for 3 days, so I instead fought a different boss, the Hive Mind. It was actually a pretty intense boss fight. I spent the rest of day 34 extending the bridge. Day 35 was the day to end all days. This was the day of the Wall of Flesh's reckoning. I woke early, eager to destroy that of which had destroyed me 3 times prior. I was going to be properly prepared this time, with potions and a longer bridge, and thus this was the result of my preparation. I'd absolutely flattened it, and with extreme ease. I didn't even go below 300 HP, and that was the end of the beginning. I hope you're enjoying so far, because it's about to get a lot more insane. The very first thing I did in hard mode was loot the Wall of Flesh, rather unsurprisingly. There was a whole bunch of interesting loot to unpack. Lore items, a new repeater, new accessories, and of course, the loot bag. Almost immediately, the steampunker moved in. I then opened my treasure bag and got this awesome new summon weapon, which like summoned these planes or something. And I also got a summoner emblem, which wasn't very useful since I was part of the ranger class thus far. Day 36 was the beginning of what I like to call the process. This is where you bless the world and spend the next couple of hours of your life drinking Spelunker potions whilst trying not to go insane when you die 20 seconds after using your last Spelunker potion. Trust me, it's happened to me. So that was all of day 36, just blessing the world with as many altars as I could find. But on the night of the 36th, Skeletron Prime rocked up and kicked my ass. Oh, and I also got some new dye, which was quite literally fire. On day 37, I got attacked by something called an Earth Elemental. It killed me, so that was pretty nice. I also made lightning boots, a very easy to make but awesome accessory. Turns out to mine cobalt, I need a molten pickaxe, and to get a molten pickaxe, I need hellstone, so I popped an obsidian skin potion and got to work. On day 38, I continued the process. It wasn't all boring though. I found the Bam Wizard and bought a cool accessory as well as a crystal ball from him. This accessory basically gave me some minions, I guess you could call them. One acted as a torch, one attacked enemies, and the other one just followed me around creepily. I actually ended up killing an Earth Elemental, which dropped a Sandstorm Summoner. I then killed another Earth Elemental, which drops a powerful sword and a gun of some sort. At night, Skeletron Prime spawned in again, and I destroyed him. Sorry, got destroyed by him. Oh dear. Day 39 was not very eventful. I spent most of the daytime building houses and the rest of the day mining titanium. Day 40 was also rather uninteresting. Spent the whole day mining titanium, but I did find a brand new biome in Hell, and oh how important it would be later on. On day 41, I decided to challenge the slime gods, and I got destroyed beyond belief by a pre-hard mode boss. I also found the skeleton merchant, who sold me a powerful new bow called the Marrow. On the night of the 41st, I had another encounter with Skeletron Prime, which ended something like this. By the end of day 41, I had finally made full titanium, and it's fair to say all this hard work made me look awesome, and I was ready to destroy. And destroy I did. On day 42, I got my revenge on the slime gods. It was a good fight, actually surprisingly close considering I had full titanium, but we pulled out the W nonetheless. I spent the rest of day 42 collecting lead for chests for mimics and expanding the arena at home. Day 43 started with me getting over 23 gold from a single mimic. Later on, I fought Crabulon. I'd severely underestimated it because I almost died to one of the earliest bosses in the game. I really need to start taking the bosses seriously from now on. In the evening, I made a platform for the overground mushroom biome for the truffle and spent the rest of the night farming money. I ended day 43 with around 2.5 platinum. You got to respect the hustle. On day 44, I defeated the Wall of Flesh for the second time. I got the corruption key and I used the demon trophy, which was supposed to boost enemy spawn rates by 25%. Later on, I wanted to go back to the dungeon to see if I could find anything new. On the way over, I killed an ice clasper, which dropped a brand new summon weapon. I tested it out against a very convenient ice golem and it proved to be very helpful. Once at the dungeon, I ended up not really finding anything except for a brand new mini-boss called the Eidolist, which had some pretty powerful attacks similar to the Lunatic Cultist. Unfortunately, it didn't drop anything at all except for a pathetic 1 gold coin. On day 45, I built a brand new room exclusively for bow mod materials, weapons, and of course the Archer NPC. Or at least I spent half of the day doing that, as a destroyer spawned at night, and we fought all night. But my DPS was just pathetic and I didn't even get close to winning. In fact, with the whole night of non-stop fighting, I was only able to get it down to 80% health. I finished up the Archer's Room on day 46. That took up almost the whole day, and at night I was ambushed by the twins, and that fight did not last long at all, and I was of course destroyed. I did, however, kill 2 hallowed mimics. From the first I got a crystal vial shard, which you know is okay, but from the second I got this gorgeous little bow, and I finally stood a chance against the mech bosses. I spent most of day 47 in the Hallow. Basically, I needed to farm pixie dust and unicorn horns because they were needed to craft holy arrows, and if you've ever played Terraria before, you will know that the Daedalus Stormbow and holy arrows are like bread and butter. Seriously, try and name a more iconic duo, I bet you can't. I needed to make about 4,000 arrows so I could craft a holy quiver. And at night, blood moon, blah blah blah, blood orbs, blah blah blah, yeah we've seen this all before. Anyways, day 48. Quite a lot happened on day 48. I'd actually saved up quite a few fallen stars so far, so I used up a bunch to craft a Jester's Arrow Quiver. I felt so powerful, and these were only Jester arrows. Imagine if they were, say, holy arrows? Now that would be quite the spectacle. I then tried to reforge my bow, but it was disgustingly expensive, so I just settled with a modifier called Sleek, which was okay I suppose. I then headed back to the Hallow, but I killed an ice golem on the way, which dropped a bow called the Absolute Zero, which was one of the bows I was going to need for my mega bow. Whilst I was farming in the hallowed biome, a pixie dropped a blessed apple, which gave me the unicorn mount, which if you don't know I believe is the fastest vanilla mount in 1.3. At night time, I summoned the destroyer. I was actually rather disappointed to see that the jester arrows just weren't going to work, but I was actually going to need holy arrows. I fought all night, but only got the destroyer down to half health. Holy arrows it is. Day 49 was a really good day. It all started off with a blessing. I killed a Nimbus, and it dropped the 2 weapons which I was looking for. Later on I battled the Wall of Flesh to try and get a Ranger emblem, and believe it or not, I actually got one on the first try of the day. I spent the rest of the day farming unicorns and made a holy quiver. At night time, it was time to test if the grind was worth it. Well, given the fact that I destroyed Skeletron Prime, I'd say that it was most definitely worth it. Day 50. Wow, halfway. I just want to say if you are enjoying the video so far, please drop a like. It really helps the YouTube algorithm in pushing my video, which would obviously mean a lot, so thanks guys. Anyways, on day 50, I was working on a new arena. This one was in the snow biome, as one of my next bosses on the target list was the Kyrogen. At night, I destroyed the destroyer. Yep, just putting that out there, I did in fact destroy the destroyer, and this allowed me to craft full hallowed armour. On day 51, I fought and killed Skeletron Prime again. I actually re-equipped my titanium armour, as the set bonus, as well as the damage output, was actually slightly better than the hallowed armour. I used the Souls of Might from Skeletron Prime to craft a brand new bow. This one was called the Techno Bow, and it was going to be my main weapon against the Kyrogen. On day 52, I battled the Kyrogen for the very first time, and wow! I really have to pay attention to my movement. Every one of those hits do a lot of damage, so I'm really going to have to focus on movement here. Later on in day 52, I found a new biome. This was the astral biome, and it was actually really important for later on, so make sure you stick around for that. At night, I used a Titan Heart at this altar for some stupid reason, and it summoned some overpowered, insane boss called Astrum Deus. Yeah, I got wrecked. Thanks for asking. On day 53, I had an insanely close call with the Kyrogen. I knew if I just focused a little bit harder at the end, I probably would have won, so I rematched it straight away. The boss fight that commenced was truly epic. Yeah, I actually won. I got a new NPC, but more importantly, one of its drops were basically wings, which was epic. Only 2 things happened on day 54. I finished the acid rain event, but I died to the twins. Guess I hadn't learnt my lesson for underpreparing, huh? On day 55, I made some proper preparations for the twins, but I still died. Yeah, that's literally it. Thankfully, day 56 was more promising. I got the final arrow stone, the aerial arrow stone, which meant that I could finally craft the elemental arrow stone. At night, there was another blood moon, but I still battled the twins and I lost once again. I'm not really sure what I was doing wrong. It was quite close, so I thought I would just try and focus harder to win next time. However, right at the end of day 56, I had a godsend moment. A rainbow slime. Yeah, I hear you laughing. Why on earth would a rainbow slime be any good? Well, you shall once again observe. Having rainbow blocks meant that I could craft the rainbow. Just look at this beauty. This thing just emanates destruction in the form of colours. With the remaining rainbow blocks, I made some torches and put them in my new party room. This was going to be my celebration room for day 100, if there was even going to be anything to celebrate about. Anyways, at night, I summoned the twins. I mean, look at the battlefield. They stood no chance this time. Actually, they kinda did. I got complacent when I saw victory in sight, and I slipped and died. I swear my hand fell off the keyboard. It's okay because I fought them again, and this time I won. My redemption arc was complete. On day 58, I made another new bow, the adamantite bow, which I made by converting titanium into adamantite. Obviously, this bow was only a stepping stone, as it allowed me to craft the much stronger hallowed sight. I now had an even stronger weapon in my arsenal, and we were only getting stronger from here. I was then able to make Frostpark boots, and this too was only a stepping stone, as it allowed me to craft angel treads. Now these were some stunning kicks, and guess what? There was another blood moon. I didn't really do anything interesting on day 59, but I did kill a few bosses for money. This includes the Wall of Flesh, the King Slime about 20 times, and the Destroyer. I also found my very first life fruit in the jungle, so that was pretty cool. On day 60, I decided to challenge the Aquatic Scourge, and I got it down to 0.4% health after I died thanks to my rainbows. Close, but not enough. In the evening, I rematched it, but this time I actually killed it. After I killed it, the ocean just became really challenging, and I actually died. Fortunately, it did give me a very powerful summoning item. I'm a huge fan of just having little summons in the background to help with chip damage, so these little dudes were going to be super helpful. Day 61 started with me killing a cloud elemental, and I basically spent the whole day expanding my main arena. At night, I fought the twins again, but this time I killed them with relative ease. Killing the twins again meant that I could craft a brand new armor set called the Apollo set, and boy was this for rangers. On day 62, I killed some hallowed mimics in search for the illuminant hook. I ended up getting it, and this was quite the upgrade compared to my Skeletron hand. At night, I accidentally summoned Anahita, which was a horrid mistake as it killed me. On day 63, I fought the pirate invasion, but since it wasn't 1.4, there wasn't really anything exciting to look for. I spent the remainder of day 63 in the underground jungle, mining chlorophyte and getting heart fruits. On day 64, I built a house for the truffle and the witch doctor. I'm not really sure why, but that seemed to take up the whole day, so that's basically it for day 64. On day 65, I finished up the jungle house for the witch doctor, and I spent basically the whole day building a giant arena underground for Plantera. I literally spent all of day 66 continuing with the Plantera arena. It was taking so blimmin' long because I kept being attacked by these stupid jungle mobs. They make me so angry. On day 67, I didn't really do that much. I finished up the Plantera arena, farmed some king slime, and that was it. On day 68, I killed some jungle mimics, which dropped a whole bunch of items, but the best one was easily this vine hook, which was really quick and it had decent reach. At night, I killed the twins again, and this time it was insanely easy. Who's underpreparing now, huh? On day 69, I had an epic battle with Plantera. It was actually going really well, but unfortunately, nothing happened. I won, easily. The rest of day 69 comprised of me locating the jungle temple and almost dying constantly from the traps. On day 70, I built an arena in the temple, which I used to fight Golem. I actually defeated it first try, so that was pretty good. Although, you know, Golem is like the easiest boss in the game, but, you know, not to discredit myself or anything. I fought the Golem again on day 71, and then a third time, and then a fourth time, and then a fifth. No, I'm joking, it was only 4 times. I then returned home and bought steampunk wings from the steampunker. These were considerably better than my current wings, so I welcomed the upgrade. I then opened all 4 treasure bags and I got the pixel as well as a bunch of other useless crap. I also bought the auto hammer from the truffle, which was going to be very important for shroomite bars later on. I spent most of day 72 in the dungeon. I was looking for a black belt, a tabby, as well as loads of ectoplasm. Of course, I found all of these materials, and by the end of day 72, I was threaded out with some brand new Master Ninja gear. Oh, I also got the Staff of the Frost Hydra, but who really cares? That's kind of useless. On day 73, I got some new dye, which was absolutely stunning. I looked amazing, and I can't be convinced otherwise. I also found a hive cyst, so I kind of battled the hive mind, which was quite fun. When I was in the jungle, I was attacked by a mechanical mini-boss called the Plaguebringer, which is kind of like a mech version of the Queen Bee. I killed it. I don't think it really dropped anything too interesting, but towards the end of day 73, I encountered something interesting. Yep, the alien probe, meaning that I could fight the alien invasion, and that's basically what I did. I spent most of day 74 battling the Martian Madness event. I got loads of loot, but none of it was really that useful, other than the laser drill, which wasn't essential, but it was kinda cool. I also didn't get the UFO mount, which was kind of the main thing I was hoping to get, but I didn't get it, so that kinda sucks. On day 75, I crafted a brand new movement accessory called the Status Ninja Belt. This accessory just kind of boosted all aspects of movement, basically just an upgraded Master Ninja gear. And I spent an absolute fortune trying to reforge it to something good, but all I ended up with was quick. Later on, I went back to that mini biome in Hell, which was called the Brimstone Crag. There was an important boss which I needed to fight here, so I built an arena and then we battled. Yes, indeed, it was another close fight, but I killed it on the very first attempt, and that's another boss ticked off the checklist. On day 76, I opened the treasure bag and I got this cool mage weapon. It wasn't very powerful, and it was probably weaker than my bows, so I didn't end up using it. I spent the remainder of day 76 battling a solar eclipse which I summoned, and I ended up with a whole bunch of awesome loot, including a brand new summon weapon. Day 77 started off with me having a rematch with Plantera. Actually, I had quite a few rematches with Plantera. Turns out, she dropped some useful materials which I would need later on. At night, I tried to visit the Abyss, but I died, so I just gave up. On day 78, I built another arena. At this rate, the whole world might as well be an arena. This one was on the left side ocean, and it was going to be used for Anahita and Leviathan, as well as Duke Fishron, and at the end of day 78 I challenged Anahita for the second time. I wasn't really expecting to win since I'd never actually properly fought her before, and when the Leviathan spawned I didn't die. The Leviathan was actually the easiest part of the fight. I actually killed the Leviathan, but Anahita went Super Saiyan on me and she killed me. It was super close though. On day 79, I wanted to have a rematch, but then a bloody solar eclipse happened. I spent the whole day battling this stupid solar eclipse, and right when I thought it was finally over, a blood moon happened. This was extremely frustrating, as all I wanted to do was defeat Anahita and Leviathan, and that just summarises up day 79. On day 80, I went back to the ocean so I could battle Anahita once again. But I waited so long for the nurse to move in. In fact, she didn't move in till the afternoon of day 80. Once she moved in, I had to wait even longer for the question mark thingy to spawn in. It finally spawned in at 9:15 PM and the battle commenced. Okay, wow, that was probably my favourite Terraria boss ever. It's so close at times, the visuals were amazing, and it just felt epic. On day 81, I opened up the treasure bag and got a whole bunch of new weapons, including this summoner staff called the Gastric Belcher Staff, which is just an awesome name. I also got Leviathan Teeth, which was a rogue weapon, and a new accessory which gave a bunch of buffs. I spent the afternoon of day 81 building some new houses for NPCs, and at night I fought and defeated the lunatic cultist. I did this kind of early because I really needed the ancient manipulator, which I was going to use to craft my most powerful bow yet. The cultist dropped this cool new staff, as well as the ancient manipulator, which was just what I was looking for. With the ancient manipulator in my possession, I could finally craft the bow which I'd been working towards since pre-hard mode. Almost every bow which I had crafted and obtained thus far was going to be used to craft this beauty, the Elemental Wrath. How does it work, you're probably asking? Well, let me show you. Gorgeous, isn't it? The rest of day 82 was spent levelling out an arena for the Old One's army, as well as actually fighting them. I made it all the way to Betsy, but she killed me and then I lost. At the start of day 83, I was fighting the giant clam when I was told a solar eclipse is happening. Killing the giant clam gave me another cool looking NPC, which didn't sell anything particularly special, but it did look awesome, so that's all that mattered. I spent the rest of the day battling the eclipse once again. I actually got a few more things from this one though. For example, this Mothron dropped me another new bow, which I was looking for, as well as the Eye of Cthulhu yo-yo and a broken archer bow, which is the bow mod equivalent of broken hero swords. I spent day 84 in the jungle mining chlorophyte ore, which I was going to use to make shroomite armour, and that's exactly what I did. On day 85, guess what I was building? Yep, that's correct, I was building another arena. This one was in the astral biome for Astrum Aureus, and that is exactly who I fought on the night of the 85th. Although it wasn't extremely challenging, it was a fun fight, and when I killed it, this message popped up in chat. The ethereal click must have been referring to that chest which I found earlier in the dungeon, which I couldn't open. And so on day 86, I returned to the dungeon and opened the astral chest. It had the whole load of fallen stars, spawn rate potions, mana potions, and a weapon called the Heaven Fallen Star Disc, which was another rogue weapon. Whilst in the dungeon, I opened the jungle chest, the hallowed chest, and the corruption chest. None of them were very useful, but I did like how the chests looked, so I collected them. On day 87, I opened my treasure bag from Astrum Aureus. This one gave me a new summon weapon which wasn't very powerful, but it also gave me a cool new melee weapon which was similar to the solar eruption. I returned to the abyss, but I died. So I once again returned and I died again. I was looking for scoria ore, which I could use to craft something that would permanently increase my health even more. So yeah, all of day 87 was either spent dying or mining scoria ore. On day 88, my day 87 efforts paid off. I crafted the miracle fruit, which permanently increased my life by 25. I also made a blood orange, which further increased my life by 25. And I spent the rest of the day building this underground mushroom biome, which I wanted to use for truffle worms. Oh, and at night I also fought 3 mech bosses at once, to show them who the real boss was. Spoiler alert, it was me. On day 89, I continued with the underground mushroom biome, but it was spreading extremely slowly, so I instead went to Hell to collect Hellstone for Calamity spawners, and that's it really. But on day 90, I crafted a brand new weapon. No, it wasn't a bow, it wasn't a plane, it was, in fact, a mini Terrorblade. That's right, a Terrorblade short sword. At night, I had another boss fight. This one was against Calamitus, and this is how it went. Yep, victory was indeed ours. The treasure bag had a bunch of material accessories, but nothing really interesting. So I fought them again just for the fun of it, but they didn't really drop anything interesting the second time around. On day 91, I realised we're in the endgame now. This is where things begin to get a little frantic, as there was so much that I needed to do with so little time remaining. However, day 91 was not very frantic. I spent all of day 91 in the mushroom biome, farming for truffle worms. The same goes for the beginning of day 92, but in the end, I had enough truffle worms to be confident to defeat Duke Fishron. Fishron had a couple of drops which I was looking for, namely Fishron wings, but there was also the tsunami, and which I could use to craft another bow called Poseidon's Wrath. I ended up defeating Fishron all 3 times, and I was able to get the new bow, but I didn't get Fishron wings. On day 93, I battled one of the most technically challenging bosses that I've faced so far. This one was called the Ravager, and it killed me on my very first attempt. However, I was able to craft a new accessory called the Artemis emblem, which just gave me loads of boosts and buffs and just general improvements, particularly for the Ranger class. I then battled the Ravager once more. Surprisingly, I actually won. This was a very fun and challenging boss fight. The loot was pretty cool, but it didn't have anything interesting that I was actually after other than this cool new sentry summon. I tested it against the King Slime as well as my current sentry and couldn't really decide which one was better, and at this point in the game it was becoming a bit of a speed run, so I didn't actually want to waste too much time. I bought 5 more Duke Fishron summoners from the Sea King and spent the rest of day 94 killing Duke Fishron. I did end up getting Fishron wings as well as another rogue weapon called the Duke's Decapitator. That is a menacing name. At the start of day 95, I killed the Stardust Pillar, which meant that I could make the Stardust Dragon Staff. I then killed the Solar Pillar and the Nebula Pillar, and I also fought Old One's army at night, but I died to Betsy once again. On day 96, I made some final adjustments to my arena to make it more Moonlord ready, and then I killed the Ravager again for some reason. I got a decent mage weapon, but that was really it. At night, I fought the Old One's army again, and this carried on into day 97, but this time around I beat them, thanks to my Ballista Staff. At the end of day 97, I was farming the King Slime as well as the Eye of Cthulhu. This time I just needed as much money as possible to make sure that I could get warding on every accessory and to make sure that all my weapons were as strong as possible. And that's exactly what I did on day 98. I got warding on every single accessory. I didn't really have much else to do, so I built a teleporter to the Vortex Pillar. Day 98 gave me my very last Blood Moon. This was the time to use all of those blood orbs I'd been saving up to make as many potions as I could in final preparation for the Moonlord. And on day 99, I killed the Vortex Pillar and I summoned the Moonlord. Okay, what the was that? I didn't just lose, I got embarrassed, humiliated. I didn't even survive 1 minute. Unfortunately, I literally had no time to lose, so I spent the remainder of day 99 frantically expanding my arena and devising a new game plan. And on day 100, I built a teleporter down to the nurse's room just in case, but most importantly, I summoned the Moonlord once again. This is what it all came down to. The last day, the last boss, and it was epic. I won! I actually did it! And let me tell you something. Although this was mainly a Calamity playthrough, I had one final thing to show you. Since the beginning of this 100-day challenge, I'd been collecting bows. I'm sure you know that. And now I had them all. This meant that I could make one final bow. This was the zenith of all bows, the Heavenly Volley. Oh, it crafted with the annoying modifier. That's kind of annoying. But I guess the gods were on my side that day because I reforged it just once, and yeah, just look at this magnificent sight. If you made it all the way to the end, I just want to say thank you. Thanks for joining me on this amazing journey. Consider subscribing, dropping a like, and drop any other 100-day ideas you may have for Terraria or Minecraft in the comment section down below.